Good evening, everyone. I'm Victoria Anderson, the chair of the Student Government Association's Elections Commission. On behalf of SGA, I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight. I'd like to start by introducing the members of the Election Commission and explain their roles for tonight. Commission members will be working with tonight's moderator to field your questions. They are Bonnett, Savannah Colbert, Maya Lunsford, and Elizabeth Vargas. Elizabeth will be working as our timekeeper. Please feel free to add questions to the Q&A of the Team 5 event. Remember to please keep all questions respectful and relevant. At this time, I'd like to introduce Rachel Mathers, the Vice Chair of the Elections Commission, to explain the rules of the debate and introduce our candidates, as well as tonight's moderator, Monty Montgomery.
Good evening, everyone. As Tori said, my name is Rachel Mathers, and I am the Vice Chair of the Elections Commission. And it is my pleasure to introduce our moderator and candidates. And first, I'd like to go over rules for tonight's debate. And at this time, we ask that you please put your phones on vibrate or silent out of respect for the candidates. And here are the rules of the debate. First, we will start with opening statements from each ticket, and ticket 1 will go first, and each ticket will have 2 minutes to make an opening statement. 2, the questions will be answered in a rotating order starting with ticket 1. 3, the ticket answering the question will have 90 seconds to answer, followed by a 90-second answer from each other ticket. And each ticket will then be allowed 60 seconds for a follow-up. 4, there will be a 15-second warning signal from the Elections Committee member at the end of each timed response. Elizabeth is seated near the moderator, and Elizabeth will show each candidate's sign and give the signal when each candidate has 15 seconds left. After the allotted time to respond has ended, she will ask the candidate to stop their response by calling time. Fifth, we will begin with predetermined questions, some of which have been shared with the tickets. The debate will then move to questions from the audience, which you can submit now using the link to the Google Forms. 6, after questions, each ticket will have a chance to give a 90-second closing statement. 7th, we ask that the candidates and audience remain respectful and speak at their given time. Representing ticket 1, we have Ryan Bonnett and Emily Yates, and representing ticket 2 is Lucas Snyder and Daniel Morgan. They will have a chance to give an opening statement in just a few minutes. Tonight, we are excited to have Monty as our moderator, and please join me in welcoming him.
All right, thank you to everybody at the Elections Commission for giving me the opportunity to come back and do this again. I enjoyed debating very much last year, and I'm glad to be the moderator again this year. So before we move into our questions, can we get a round of applause for our candidates here real quick? Very proud of everybody up there. All right, so we're going to move into questions first. Ticket 1, you will be answering this first. Both of you will have 90 seconds as well as a 60-second rebuttal, as they just said. So, ticket 1, this is for the president, by the way. How does your current involvement on campus and past leadership experiences make you the most qualified candidate for the position you are seeking?
So, my previous leadership, great to see you. With my organization, I served on our executive board for the last 3 years. Got to work with a lot of different people, so a lot of skills to communicate. And
All right, thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah, make sure when you guys are speaking that you unmute yourselves.
yes.
exactly
Sorry,
what
folks,
you're
apologies for the technical difficulties. 2 years in, we're still figuring out how to use Microsoft Teams. It's all good.
Sorry about that. Yeah, didn't have my mic on. So through my leadership experience here at school already, I've served as through my organization's executive board as social chair, secretary, and currently a scholarship chair. Got to work with a lot of different people, build relationships, learn how to communicate. I think that's really big. Learning how to network will take you so much farther in life and really build those connections that can help get things done. I served on the Interfraternity Council as Vice President of Community Service. And as ECU's motto is Servir, which means to serve, I think that speaks towards my goals and my outlook. I'm excited to keep things going here at the student government level, and really keep those connections that are going to make an impact and get things done.
Right, ticket 2, I will repeat the question. How does your current involvement on campus and past leadership experiences make you the most qualified candidate for the position you are seeking?
Thank you for having us, first of all. So I've been involved in SGA for the last 3 years. I'm currently on the executive cabinet as liaison to the UNC Association of Student Governments, which is a statewide student government association, and I've also been on faculty senate committees, 2 of those last year. And I think it's important that the student body president represents all students, not just specific subsets of them. That's why Daniel and I decided to run, because we feel that we can represent every student, no matter what their background, no matter where they come from, no matter their major, what clubs they're on. And I think that by the end of this debate, you will see that we are the most qualified for the job.
All right, thank you very much. Ticket 1, you have a 60-second follow-up response.
Learning. Absolutely. I think having that experience on SGAs and knowing the broad base of school is absolutely necessary. And I think I've done a good job myself of getting to know many different people from numerous clubs. And that is important because it is the student body president of the entire student body. And that is very diverse. And one of our platforms is inclusion of all students, promoting those minority group clubs, and really pushing for equity all around. But absolutely, I think coming from outside of SGA really provides that outside scope of it's not just here serving out, but I'm out serving in as well. So I'm excited to keep that going.
All right, ticket 2, same question, follow-up response.
Yeah, so I actually think that being inside student government is actually more effective because you can, you represent every student. So yeah, we may have been involved for 5 years, but that also gives us the knowledge and the experience to know exactly how to pass legislation, the different committees that go into it, and it really gives us a better understanding of how to connect to all students. Like I said before, no matter their background, and on our platform, one of the things is the Captain's Council, and we're really proud of that initiative that we're going to do if we get elected. And I think all students will feel that they are represented if we get elected.
All right, thank you both very much. Next question, we're going to be starting with ticket 2. Ticket 2, your question is, how do the priorities of your platform align with or promote the university's mission?
Yeah, so we have a threefold platform. Number 1 is mental health advocacy, and we actually have plans to put those policies into place, such as working with the Counseling Center as well as the Powered Academic Success Center. Daniel and I believe that academic success relies on your mental health. So we're really putting that at the forefront of our agenda. The second thing is academic cost transparency. That's been worked on in SGA for a little while now. We basically want to make it to where every student, before they register for classes, knows exactly what they're going to have to pay for. So like I've been in a situation where, it was $100 for a textbook, and then it was $50 for an online access code, and it was $25 for this. and it just kind of added up. So that's why we want to make it to where all students are able to afford the classes that they're taking, so they don't have to drop when they, if they find out they can't afford it. So that's the second part of our platform. And the third, like I mentioned before, is the Captain's Council. And I'm sure we'll go into it more, but just kind of a basic thing is it would invite representatives from all student organizations, as well as offices on campus, such as the Success Center, Counseling Center, dining services, residence halls, to come meet with us monthly and discuss issues that they may see, comments that students have given them. So that'll give us like a one-on-one conversation and to the students.
Thank you very much. Ticket 1, same question. How do the priorities of your platform align with or promote the university's mission?
Absolutely. So our platform base is fourfold. We would like to improve mental health services on campus. We're advocating for sexual assault prevention and survivor support. I think that's a big thing that happens far too much and kind of gets pushed under the rug and not talked about as much as it should be. We're going with inclusion of all students on campus. I think it's important to provide that equity of all. And then lastly is student engagement on campus and school spirit, building that sense of pride around going to ECU and being excited to be here. And I think all of those speak to serving the community and making everything around you better. You want to be proud of what you're a part of, and that's really something I take pride in. So we'll go with that for now. I'll stop there.
All right, ticket 2, follow up.
Really pleased to hear that he said sexual assault, bringing that awareness, and both Daniel and I have actually done something about that. This past assembly, we passed a piece of legislation standing up for sexual assault survivors and advocating for them. So I'm glad that they have that on their agenda, but I think it's important to note that Daniel and I have already done something about that.
Ticket 1.
Yeah, I haven't served on SGA, so I haven't had the chance to pass legislation yet, but I'm excited to get to work. You mentioned the Captain's Council with meeting with student organization leaders, as well as with the SGA and faculty. I've been made aware of the Pirates Roundtable is pretty similar to that already and feels that correct me if I'm wrong, but serves that purpose as well. But I think to build off of what we have going for sexual assault, we want to bring in event speakers to talk to organizations and get them informed and involved. And we got a lot of things planned that I'm very excited for.
All right, thank you very much, both tickets. Next, we're going to be moving into our round of vice presidential candidates. So both VP candidates are going to take the lead on these questions here. Ticket 2, as you just went, we'll go back to ticket 1 to start this one off. All right. How will you actively seek out student issues and concerns?
Hi. So to actively seek out student issues and concerns, I believe one thing that is very important is to keep open communication. So I know whenever you go online to the SGA website, they have the contact form there, but I feel like a lot of students don't know about that. So making students aware that they can go online and submit their concerns, as well as coming to the Pirate Roundtable is important, as well as posting on social media and keeping people know that they can come up to me, or reaching out to individual clubs and knowing they don't always have to come to me, but I can go to them and I'll be there for them as well. I think that's important.
Thank you very much. Ticket 2, same question. How will you actively seek out student issues and concerns?
Hey, thank you for having us. First off, Lucas and I plan to have an open door policy on our door. in the SGA office, we plan to have a sign that says knock, come in whenever you like, if the light's on, obviously, if not, we're not there. But the plan is to be able to have a very open dialogue in the office with SGA members, but also students who are not in SGA. The SGA office, a lot of people, I feel like they don't know, it is open. All the time that the student center is open, the SGA office is open. So it's encouraged and necessary for students to come talk to SGA because that's what we're for. We're here to give you a voice. The other thing is the Captain's Council. I want to emphasize that is student focused, and it would be the head of it would be Lucas and I as the SGA vice president and president, because we give a different perspective than faculty may already at the Power Roundtable, and we are able to tell people all that SGA has to offer. You want to include funding, you want to talk about having a voice, writing legislation. There's so much that SGA has to offer, and we want to let people know.
All right, thank you very much. Ticket 1, follow-up responses.
One other thing that I think is important is students, the open door policy, I believe that is a great thing, but for the distance education students and the people who can't be there, letting them know, like sending out an email to them is great, but also having multiple platforms for them to reach out to you is important, because holding like possibly like Zoom meetings with them or some way, because not always in writing can they put their problems or their issues they want to have. Just have a way for them to communicate their issues to you would be a great addition to communication.
Ticket 2, follow-up response.
So yeah, I'd like to give some insight on what SGA requires of a student and of an assembly member. And so a regular assembly member at large or of one of the colleges, they must attend 2 office hours a week. And then if you're a director or any other higher up position, it's 5 or more hours. So those office hours currently, in all reality, you can go in there and do whatever you want, really. You can do homework, you can text your clubs or whatever you're involved in on campus. It doesn't have to pertain to SGA. We plan to keep that policy, but encourage SGA work necessary. When I first became a director, I was honestly astonished that SGA doesn't require anything of a student during office hours. The main things are your meetings and your meeting commitments that you have every week. So talking about distance education, students, this time, sorry, thank you.
All right, ticket 2, you'll be heading up this next question here. Again, for the vice presidential candidate, what areas in Student Government Association do you think need improvement? And what are you planning to do in those areas?
So like I said, I believe that office hours should be used for SGA purposes. If we're here to better the student body and to better represent all our students, no matter what area, no matter what club, if you're not in any club, that's what office hours should be used for, and that includes the president and vice president. We plan to hold office hours that are not only in person but online, sort of a hybrid sort of setup, just like most classes nowadays. It's so easy to do that using Teams. Everyone has an ECU email, and so that's how we all have that in common. We're all ECU students. We're all Pirates. So if and not only that, we plan to go to events. That's part of the requirements of being an SGA is that you have 2 required events per semester if you're a member or anything higher, such as a director. And so that's our plan, yeah, just to encourage more required events.
All right, ticket 1, same question. What areas in SGA do you think need improvement, and what are you planning to do within those areas?
Some areas within SGA that I believe could be improved. Overall, I think that some students just aren't very knowledgeable about SGA and what all they can do for the students. So I believe just like encouraging students, not only when they're freshmen, but even when they get older, because there are transfer students, to know what all SGA has to offer is something that SGA could do a better job of, is just communicating what all they can do, because they can do a lot. It's just being there for the students and being there and saying like, hey, if you need something, please like reach out to us. And I know like sometimes it's easy to look on the website, but not all students are going to do that. And just advocating for all students all the time is a great thing that we can improve on, as well as getting students involved in all the events, because like one of our platforms is improving school spirit and making students proud to be here. And I think that that starts with student government.
Thank you very much. Ticket 2, follow-up response.
All right, so I'd like to say that, first of all, we have a shipmates program in SGA, and that's for first-year students, whether you're a transfer student or a freshman. It's a really great program headed by a really good director who's directed it for the past 2 years. And I was a shipmate, he was a shipmate, and that's what got us to be interested in and love SGA, and that's why we're here today. So we believe that there's a lot of capability there with shipmates, and so we want to further that program. And also, I want to say that there's a good amount of marketing with that. To be honest, it's hard to get people to join SGA, and I think that's because there is a work element to it. It is not fun. It is not, well, it's not always fun. We like to have fun, but there is a definite work to it, and we want to emphasize the great abilities that comes with being an SGA member.
Ticket 1, follow-up response.
So I would personally, since I'm not involved with SGA as of like, I don't have like previous experience with SGA, I would love to hear about all this opportunities that they have to offer, even more so, like all the individual things that y'all do throughout the year, so I can help market those to different clubs and different organizations that I'm a part of and that I know that my friends are a part of, so we can get more people involved in SGA, such as shipmates and other experiences there, because there are good marketing like people in SGA that do a good job, but I feel like there are other things as social media grows and as technology grows that we could utilize to help with all those.
Thank you both very much. We're now going to be moving into general questions as well as audience questions if we have time. This is a reminder, there's no longer rebuttal periods. You will each be getting one opportunity to speak. Going back to ticket 1 to start here, either of you can answer this question. What is an original initiative that you have?
Let me fix that. As part of our sexual assault prevention platform, we've reached out to a local club here called Find Your Voice that works to promote that survivor support and the advocacy for prevention and to get that information out. So we've talked to them and bounced some ideas around about what they've seen and heard from the students and what we can do within the government to help them and really push their message. And one thing that I want to get going is there's this company called Safe Bar Alliance that comes to your town and goes out to the bars and trains all the staff on how to see the signs of sexual assault before it happens, and how to intervene properly, and just create a safe environment for people. Because if you're going downtown, nobody wants to have to worry about their safety. You're there to have fun, not worry about anything else. And I've been a bouncer at one of the bars downtown for about a year now, and so I understand that importance of having that safe environment. So that's one of the initiatives that we want to get pushing and get going.
Thank you. Ticket 2, same question. What is an original initiative that you have?
So currently, as the Director of Local and State Affairs in SGA, I am working on getting self-defense classes here at ECU in the Rec Center. We are reaching out to multiple clubs and organizations and directors over there at the campus Rec Center. We're having some success with it, and we've talked with with groups like Find Your Voice and the Martial Arts Club, actually, and how we're going to incorporate them in the self-defense classes. It's not all about physicality, it's also about situational awareness. So, and I totally agree with them, it is about having fun here on campus. And so all of these safety, but also school spirit situations and concerns would hopefully be brought up to our captain's council. It is for the students. It is not, we don't have a plan for it in terms of what our topic is going to be of the day. The whole point is so that students can bring to us what they need help with.
All right. Thank you both very much. Moving on to the next question, ticket 2, you'll get the first response. What current programs within student government will you continue to promote? Pardon the technical difficulties again. Ticket 2, we'll have you guys start from the beginning.
Perfect. Okay. Okay. As I was saying, so the first year program I think is really important to energize people to want to run for SGA. And the current director is fantastic at what she does. But I do think there are some marketing things that can be improved upon, not just on social media, but also around campus. You know, tabling events. I know every time I walk by a table, I want to stop and see what the club is all about. So I think that would be a really big thing to get SGA's face out there and recruit people, not just for the shipmates program, but to run. You know, we have vacancies right now. So I think it's really important to just say, hey, you know, we don't just sit there, like we actually do things. We pass legislation, we get involved with the community, we advocate for students. And on top of the first year program, like I said before, part of our platform is mental health. And we're currently, SGA is working on the Out of the Darkness walk, which is basically a suicide prevention walk. And Daniel and I are helping out with that. We're going to volunteer there. So I think that is huge to show students all across campus, you're not alone. There are people here that are, you know, there for you. There are people going through the same struggles as you. So I think that would be really important to see that continued, not just this year, to see it grow from there and see, you know, the whole campus come to it next year. So that's kind of where we're at with that.
All right, thank you very much. Ticket 1, same question. What current programs within student government will you continue to promote?
Absolutely. So kind of going off with that, mental health, I think SGA has done a fantastic job this year of pushing out the mental health services, because it's been a big problem these last 2 years. We've all had a lot of lifestyle changes that have been hard to adapt to for a lot of people. But I think Chandler and SGA has done a really good job of pushing those initiatives, of letting the students know that we are here and we have these services. You just got to come ask, and so be able to have a place for them to come to, and make that accessible a lot easier is definitely something that we want to keep going. As well as this lift agreement that's been getting moving on. I think that's a fantastic idea for getting around Greenville. Definitely want to ensure that is something that goes through and continues to be a thing, because I think that can be very beneficial for campus safety as well, for people going home from the library late at night, things like that. But absolutely.
Thank you both. We are now going to move into some audience-generated questions. So we sent out a poll before the debate to see what some of our students wanted to hear for both of you. So we will be starting with ticket 1 for this next question. What will you do to support minority organizations on campus, such as people of color and the LGBTQ community?
Absolutely. Having an open ear and communicating with them, being able to reach out and have things like by roundtable, where you have the leaders of these major organizations, where they can come voice their opinion, and just being able to have that communication, and again, reaching out to them through the social media, and through the funding that SGA provides for their organizations when they go on trips and conferences and things like that. I think that's very beneficial to show your support all the way around. Yeah, really just push out the services that we have for them, and join up with the Black Student Union and Minority Counseling Center, and just really get things going like that.
Thank you. Ticket 2, same question. What will you do to support minority organizations on campus?
Yeah, so, the Pirate Roundtable is great, but if I understand that correctly, it's faculty involved, and at the end of the day, the president and vice president are not here to represent the faculty. I respect the faculty. They do a fantastic job at what we do, but as president and vice president, you are elected by the students. And that's the difference between Pirate Roundtable, something like Pirate Roundtable, and Captain's Council. Captain's Council is students. That's all that it will be. Student organizations, different centers on campus, such as the Cultural Center and the Women and Gender Office. So that's really why we put that in our platform, because we think it's important. We are not running to represent faculty. We're not running to represent administrators. We're running to represent the student body, and the Captain's Council will do just that.
Perfect, thank you. Moving on to our next question, ticket 2, you'll be getting the first response. This one's a little bit more fun. This is for the presidential candidates. They want to know, why did you choose your vice president? And then also for the vice president, why did you want to run with the current presidential candidate?
So I chose Daniel. I chose Daniel, or he wouldn't be sitting here. Anyways, so I've been involved in SGA 2 years. He's been involved, this is my 3rd year. This is his 2nd year. And with COVID, we were online, obviously. And then we met at the beginning of this year, and I consider him one of my best friends. So not only do we have the experience and the connections, we also are friends, so we can work well together. And his strengths are my weaknesses, and my strengths are his weaknesses. I'm very good at talking to people, connecting on a one-on-one basis. No offense, but you don't do that a lot. Some of the time you're not. Sometimes, it's a struggle, but it's okay. And sometimes, he's really good at managing people, which is part of the vice president's job, is to manage the directors and stuff. And that is sometimes a weakness of mine. So that's why I chose Daniel.
Ticket 1, I will read the question again. For the vice president, why did you choose to run with your presidential candidate? And for the president, why did you choose your VP?
So I chose Emily. We actually have been friends since we were about 5 years old, went to elementary, middle, high school together, and then came to college together. And we really became best friends in middle school. And we just have that relationship that we go way back. We talk to each other about everything. So we definitely have that relationship of communication and trust. There's nobody else that I would have even thought to pick. I trust her with just about anything. So that was my reason. What was yours?
So like Brian said, we've known each other for a long time, so we trust each other, and we've worked together as leaders before since we were in high school, which has been nice, and we know how each other operate and work, which is a good quality to have, because when somebody's getting stressed out or overwhelmed, you can kind of tell when to take over, when to be there, and then when to back off, or when you kind of need to take over certain jobs and delegate with positions, which is nice to do. And it's just, whenever you have years of experience working with somebody, it makes sense to keep it going.
Thank you both very much. Ticket 1, you will get the first response in the next question. Here. Since both of you spoke on sexual assault tonight, I figured this would be a good question to bring in. With all the controversy surrounding sexual assault as well as Greek life recently, how do you plan to balance supporting Greek life, a popular student organization, while keeping our students safe?
Absolutely. I've been a big proponent of Greek life, but there's no place for sexual assault on campus in any fashion. And it's something that we just have to work for, and to bring awareness to it and that advocacy, and push out these initiatives that we want to do. And Greek life is too often associated with sexual assault, and it gets a bad rap, but it's something that we need to work for in the end to make it go together. So yeah.
Thank you. Ticket 1. Ticket 2, same question. With all the controversy surrounding sexual assault in Greek life recently, how do you plan to balance supporting Greek life, which is a popular student organization, while keeping our students safe?
Look, we're not in SGA for ourselves. It has nothing to do with what I want to do when I'm older. I want to do this because I love serving the student body and I love ECU. I have a strong school spirit. SGA, in itself, is all about supporting the voices of students and the opinions that they have, whether it's the minority or majority. Sexual assault is never okay. This year, Lucas and I have dealt with, as he said, legislation regarding the Theta Chi incident, and obviously we respect the legal process, of course, due process, but there is a voice that has to be heard, and of course, again, that is never okay. So it is student government's job, it is our job to respond diligently and appropriately when things like that occur, and we want to minimize that, obviously.
Right, thank you both. Ticket 2, you'll be taking the next question to start. How can we, as the student body, be sure that you can handle the time commitments that come along with being the president and vice president of SGA?
A really good question. I didn't realize how much of a time commitment it was because, like I said, I was online until this year. I saw Chandler and he puts in a lot of work weekly, a lot of hours. So I think that it's important to know that you have somebody who knows exactly how much work it is. I wouldn't have ran if I didn't know how, or if I didn't think I could handle the work. I'm a senior, or I'll be a senior, but I don't have that many classes to take a lot more classes to take, excuse me. So, I'll be able to break that up and really devote a lot of my time to representing the student body, not just in SGA, but also in other forums such as Faculty Senate, Board of Trustees, different things like that. So just to reiterate, I know how much time it takes, and I wouldn't be sitting here today if I didn't think that I could handle it.
All right, thank you very much. Ticket 1, same question. How can we as the student body be sure that you can handle the time commitments that come along with being president and vice president of SGA?
Absolutely. Throughout my college career, I've definitely done my best to swamp myself and make myself busy. I definitely do my best work when I'm under pressure and know that I have to get things done. So just that's how I operate, is under heavy duress. And so I think that I've seen the commitment that it is. I've taken a look at I knew Tucker previously, and saw kind of what he was going through, and I'm ready for it. I know what it's about. So I'm excited to get to it, keep myself busy.
All right, thank you both. Ticket 1, you will be taking the beginning of the next question. This user asks, how will you be able to include non-traditional students, such as veteran students and returning students on campus?
Absolutely. I think that social media push of getting the resources out there of what we have for non-traditional students and older students coming back to to connect them with people the same, that they can build a bond and find their place on campus. Because it's hard when you're not the same as everybody else here, coming straight out of high school, or international students where they don't know anybody. Maybe there's a language barrier. Being able to connect them, and I saw Faisal waving. Being able to connect them with the resources that they need. Yeah, I think that's student government's job. It's not just your normal college student, it's all students. So that's why we're here, is to make life for all students better.
All right, thank you very much. Ticket 2, same question. How will you include non-traditional students, such as veteran students, as well as returning students on campus?
So SGA for me and Lucas has been a huge deal. We've met all of our best friends through it, I would argue. Faisal sitting in the audience right now, he's on our campaign team. He's our best friend. It's the three of us, we're the trio. He's from 7,000 miles away from Qatar. And so we have experience with international students. He's awesome. He's the director of the international students in SGA, and his job is to connect them. And so we plan to continue that non-standing director position. And also one of our other friends that we met, another director in SGA, her name is Beth. She's a completely non-traditional student. She has 7 kids, and she is a veteran, and she's been through so much in her life. And we were at her house last night for the Super Bowl, actually, and I have respected her since the day I met her. And so we plan to learn from her and what we already have learned and how to connect non-traditional students.
All right, thank you very much. This will be our last question before getting into closing remarks. This user asks, regardless of the election results, how do you plan to continue your involvement in Student Government Association? Ticket 2, you will be taking this question first.
So, obviously I want to win, as does Ticket 1, but I've not committed the last 3 years of my life to SGA just for this. I mean, I don't need this on a resume. I've had experiences and stuff, so I don't need to do this. But I have that passion to serve the students. So no matter what happens, that passion is not just going to go away. That'll still be in me probably, after graduation, when I'm off doing, whatever I'm doing after graduation. So I think that to everyone watching and to everyone that will be watching this, just know that the passion that I have for SGA and for the student body and for representing all students will not die.
Thank you very much. Ticket 1, same question. Regardless of the election results, how do you plan to continue your involvement in Student Government Association?
Absolutely. I know that there weren't enough of the assembly seats filled up with elections, so I'm sure there'll be open positions if things don't go to plan to possibly step in and fill one of those at-large seats. So I would be receptive to that if that comes to the case, but we have plans for success, so I'm excited for the future.
Thank you very much. We're going to take a brief pause real quick to garner some more questions. Right, thank you both for waiting so patiently. We got one more question before we finished up. I did lie to you, apologies. The users would like to know how you plan to support each individual director with the different sections of SGA.
Could you repeat the question one more time?
Yes. The question was, how do you plan to support each individual director in different sections of SGA?
Absolutely. Well, the VP will have one-on-one meetings with them every week to check up on their progress. But I think as president, to just have conversations with them, communicate is the biggest thing. Know what they're getting done. What can I do to go to the administration and talk to them and see where I can go and get things done there. It's all about communication, is being able to have that open door policy, you know. Go talk to them, be a friendly face, have a smile. Just be I feel like I'm someone that someone can come up and talk to and have a conversation with and not be afraid to hold something back, you know. So I think that's really the plan there, is to just talk.
Thank you. Ticket 2, same question. How do you plan to support individual directors and individual sections of SGA?
So the way SGA is set up, the directors are the forerunners of everything, of legislation, of debate, whatever it may be. The directors run the committees, and the committees make up the whole student body. The president and the vice president, of course, are also forerunners, but directors are, in my opinion, of utmost importance. And the job of the vice president is to direct the directors. There is, you know, when I first became a director, I was told the vice president is my boss. And so we meet with them one-on-one every week. I do it right before assembly. It's a great meeting, but we plan to engage more than we've seen. Currently, it's just a checkup system, and it works, but we plan to involve the vice president more in the directors, you know, asking what can be done from the vice president, because the vice president and the president both have some great connections, and that's the purpose of, that's why the spots are so powerful. So with that, you know, the one-on-ones, but also the presidential position is also, may not be the direct boss of the directors, but is also there for support, and that's why the office is there, where the vice president and the president sit together.
Right. Thank you both very much. For our final question, Ticket 2, you'll be going first, then we'll move into closing statements. Many students believe that ECU is a relatively divided community based off of the specific subgroups that we have. What is your plan to give students a better shared social identity under the name of East Carolina University?
Yeah, so we have several plans. One I don't think we mentioned before is, you know, we want events like Polar Plunge. When you hear Polar Plunge, you think hundreds, if not thousands, of students go out to that, and that really builds a community. So we want to make events where students, you know, like actually are, you know, they want to go, they want to come out, they want to meet new people. So that's part of our plan, but also, and I may sound like a broken record, but the Captain's Council is key for us. You know, it is student driven, it is for students. And I think that to open that dialogue up to all students on campus is really important, to make it to where we are one campus. We are not divided. We're not 10 different campuses separated by, you know, whatever demographics maybe, or college, whatever department you're in, but that we are one university. We all have that one thing in common. We are students of East Carolina. But I think the Captain's Council will help to bridge that gap a little bit more.
Thank you. Ticket 1, same question. Many students believe that ECU is a relatively divided community with many different subgroups supporting it. What will you do to make sure that students feel like they are under the same social identity of East Carolina University?
So I feel like one important approach to this is by making sure that the students have something that everybody can attend. So there are events like the sporting events and certain events that everybody can attend, but having more of those events that everybody's going to like, because not everybody likes to go to football games or not everybody likes to go to certain sports, but having more of those events. I know that some of our ideas that we have talked about is having a SGA sponsored 5K that goes through campus and downtown. That could get some people healthy and active while also getting the community involved. Also, we have talked about doing a sort of philanthropy fair with different organizations having their philanthropies, having like little table booths set up. So instead of it being like different days for their organizations, it's like everybody can do it all at once. Everybody can be social, get more students involved. Also, each one of our platforms itself strengthens the individual. So if each individual is stronger and more comfortable with themselves, we'll have a stronger student body as a whole.
All right, thank you both. We're now going to be moving into closing remarks. Ticket 1, you will be going first. You will each have 2 minutes to give any closing statements in which you have.
Yeah, so I guess just to round it all out, the reason I'm running is to make ECU, to leave ECU better than I found it. That's always kind of been my motto of when I come into something, I want this to be better when I'm gone than it is right now, and that's my plan. Through advocating for sexual assault prevention and survivor support, really talking with all the groups on campus, getting the ear on the ground, and seeing what we can do to build off that. Mental health services, pushing out what we have, building upon that. We also talked about kind of forming a mentorship program between grad students and undergraduate students to kind of pair them up with, have someone who went through what they did, and have someone to talk to. So we're excited for that, for inclusion, just pushing initiatives that speak to all students and engage everybody as one, as ECU, and not of, whatever subgroup that you say you're a part of. You're an ECU student. And we're all one and the same. And then student engagement again, get everybody together, get events that people want to come to. They want to have fun. They want to be a part of ECU, and they want to have that school pride. And that's really what we're trying to build is that sense of pride here at ECU. And I think that I'm the man for the job. So.
Ticket 2, closing statements.
So the thing that I really want to make clear to everybody watching, people in the audience, people who may be watching later, I have an undying commitment to the ECU students. I'm a second-generation pirate, and all growing up, I was taught that ECU is the greatest school in North Carolina. So that's why I've invested the past 3 years, and I'm sure Daniel the past 2 years, because we love this university. And that's why we're running. We're not running to kind of piggyback off your back question, or your last question, excuse me. We're not running to be the president and vice president of this group of people or this group of people. We're running to be the president and vice president of all students, no matter your background, no matter, your affiliation, demographics, whatever. And I think it shows in our platform and in our commitment to serving the entire student body over the past 5 years combined, that we are the only people for the job that can represent every student on this campus.
Right. Thank you both very much. That closes out tonight's debate. We will have some closing remarks from Victoria, and then get everybody out of here home safely tonight.
Watching tonight's debate. I'd like to give a round of applause to Ticket 1 and Ticket 2, both of our candidates. They did wonderful. Quick reminder, not this week, but next week, voting will open February 23rd through February 25th, and we will have Voice Your Vote in the main campus student center, or potentially outside, depending on if the weather decides to be nice that day, on Wednesday, February 23rd. So please go vote. Thank you all.